Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. I'm 5 minutes late. It's not the end of the world. Just take a chill pill in the live comments. Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news, and there's a lot to discuss tonight. And we're going to be talking about an Alexis Sanchez transfer bid rejected, which some people are not very happy about, but I think there is an interesting theory as to why Manchester United may have rejected that bid. Also, we're going to be talking about the latest Jadon Sancho news. There is also talk about Manchester City moving for a player called Therese, James Maddison, Garner, Jose Mourinho, lots and Josh King, and lots to discuss. But we will get into all that as the show develops. But we're going to start off. This is coming from Sport Mediaset, but also coming from the Inter Milan president, who said, "We want Sanchez at the club today and tomorrow," which I'm not going to take as literally tomorrow. I'm going to take as next season. They want him here. So Sport Mediaset, who are an Italian TV outlet, they're saying that Manchester United have rejected a £15 million bid for Alexis Sanchez. Now, straight away, people are like, what? They're giving us money for Alexis Sanchez? Take it. But, there is also a very good point to this, and that point is this, that Manchester United, the offer that is being reported is that it's a £50 million obligation to buy next season, but he's on loan for next season, and then next summer they have to buy him. Now, the issue with that is £15 million sounds great, but Manchester United will be paying £8 million the next year in Sanchez's wages, because we pay £200,000 a week of his wages to Inter Milan. They pay about £150,000 a week. So £200,000 a week is £800,000 a month, times 10 months to next summer is £8 million. So suddenly that 15 million really erodes to 7 million, doesn't it? So I think United are probably playing a good game here. They need to negotiate a little bit, and I think they just want rid of him now. So maybe 15 million and take him now. What a great deal that would be, considering that he costs 350 grand, 400 grand a week to us. So I don't blame United for rejecting it, actually. I think there might be some cleverness to that. Welcome to the Members Club, Christian Bremnes, and welcome Mark Witten, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Man United are giving Hendo a new massive contract, apparently. That was a super chat coming in from there. But look, on the Alexis Sanchez thing, I think it is interesting. I think it's very interesting how that's going to develop. But to me, the exciting thing is that there is actually a player, that there is actually a club that wants to sign Alexis Sanchez. Welcome to Brendan E, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. There is a player that wants to sign there is a club that wants to sign Alexis Sanchez, and it's promising that Inter Milan are actually negotiating for him. And look, if we could get, if we sell Alexis Sanchez for 12 million. And that's it, I would high five Edward. I would. I absolutely would. I really would. Because we've got somebody else to come in. Actually, that just reminds me. Please do check this video out. The link's in the video description. Just here's a little taster.
Foden's going to score 20 goals next season. Put that on the table now. And I honestly believe, as good as all these players are, and some of them are going to end up at the top of the game, I think Phil Foden will go further than any of them. I think, he has a ridiculous level.
So there you have it. Check that out in the link in the video description. Flex is on that video with Robbie, some Man City fan who sounds a bit deluded to me, and a Chelsea fan called Rory. But check it out. Link in the video description. Who is the best young player in the Premier League this season, and who has the potential to be the best player? Is Phil Foden really going to surpass Mason Greenwood? I think not, but check out the video. Flex raises some good points on the Greenwood argument, and that link is in the video description to go and listen and watch that debate. Phil Foden. He's a good player, but come on, Mason Greenwood. Hey Mark, did you hear that Dortmund are holding out for 120 million? Maybe we can try and lower the price, says Jerome T. Green. Look, let me just say about Jadon Sancho. The update on Jadon Sancho is this. Sky Sports today were reporting that Manchester United are confident that the deal will get done, and that all parties are feeling confident that it will get done. However, Dortmund don't feel that the talks continue, but Dortmund don't feel that Jadon Sancho will force a move, but there is increasing confidence from all parties that a deal will get done. And that's from Sky Sports. So Jadon Sancho, look, we're going to be updating Jadon Sancho probably 2 or 3 times a day the way things go at the moment. But the reality is, What I'm happy about is it's Wednesday. Monday morning, we said that the talks were starting. Some people said they hadn't. They have. They are ongoing. I think what I would say is that to me, it feels like Dortmund are sort of... The noise that's coming out is that Dortmund are confident. They're confident they don't want to move from 100 million, 110 million, and they're confident that Sancho won't push a move. This is going to push United up. And I was actually told today that United may be looking to go above what they paid for Paul Pogba and could go as high as 91 million with add-ons. So that would be, in this market, an amazing amount of money. But I would ask you actually very, very quickly, what would you do? Is there a tipping point for Jadon Sancho? Because I was thinking about this today. Is there a point where you walk away? What if let me just say this then. What if Borussia Dortmund say, we aren't selling this player for less than 95 million and the player's not going to force a move, so it's your move. And that could easily happen. What do you do? Do you walk away because it's too much money, or do you pay the money? What do you do? I lost my membership badge. I had to renew my card on payment and lost my badge, says Mark Whitten. What a nightmare. And what's your opinion on playing youth like Hannibal during some of these easier Europa League games, says Mark Giroux. I think people are taking the Europa League a little bit literal, that it's easy. I mean, we've got one easy game against Last Links. The game against the Turkish team won't necessarily be easy. And then you're going to probably play Wolves in the semi-final. So I don't think we can treat it like a bloody pre-season tour. It's a trophy I want to win, to be honest. Mark, we'll swap Ozil for Sanchez. We'll get him back to his best, says Zayn Miasi. And Trent Singh says, Mark, what are these reports that Sancho prefers Liverpool? We have to get him this summer. I'm worried if we don't this summer. Okay, so Trent Singh, there is an outlet in Germany. I believe they're called Kicker. They said that United were close to the deal yesterday. This morning they said that he wants to go to Liverpool. And then this afternoon they said something else about Sancho wanting to come to United. So I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't take it at all. Michelle says 120 is too much. I just want to see what people are saying. I would take Koeman on loan, then go back in for the deal next year. Probably would be around 70 million. Oh, God. That's Jerome. Jerome, you come out with good stuff. Where's Robson? I mean, like, what are you on about? You'd take Kingsley Coman on loan, who Bayern wouldn't give us on loan, to try and go back and get Sancho next year when everybody can afford him. I think that's the most Ed Woodward Glazer argument of the last few years I've ever heard. We can't be that club anymore. You can't do that. You go and get the player. My stance is you go and spend the 95 million. I know it's not ideal, but if it's 95 million or walk away, 95 million. Yeah. For me, I would go and do it. Sean Turner says the only reason this Sancho deal is moving fast is because Dortmund are good in the market and will want a replacement in pre-season training. Fair enough. Zane says Partey, Coutinho, Willian, Grealish incoming. Mark for Arsenal. What a battle next season. This is not Arsenal Fan TV, Zane. Arsenal Fan TV is another channel. I would pay up maybe 40 million up front plus add. I've got a really itchy nose. It's really irritating me. Stop itching. I would pay it up 40 million up front plus add-ons for goals and other bonuses, says Alec Williams. Yeah, but again, Alec, this is what we're talking about. You'd pay 40 million up front plus add-ons for goals and bonuses. Well, high five to you, Alec. I like that deal, but Dortmund aren't going to say, yeah, give us 40 million, and whilst you're at it, we'll bend over with the lube. You know, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Athleith says, our back four throughout the Europa League should be Williams, Bailly, Mengi, Fosu Mensa with Romero as goalkeeper. Do people not want to win the Europa League? Like you've suckered me in, Athleith. Fair play. Give yourself a pat on the back, and thank you for the super chat, Subadif. But am I the only one who wants to win the Europa League here? I'm like, what's all this nonsense about playing Mengi and Bailly and Fosu Mensa and Williams and Romero, and yeah, let's play McTominay and Lingard as well. Yeah, let's put Agallo up front with Dan James and Chong. I want to win the Europa League. I want to win it. I want to win it. I want to win the Europa League. I want to win the Europa League. I don't mind us playing the rubbish against Last Linz a week tonight, but a week on Monday we're playing a quarter-final of the Europa League. I want to win it. Sod all that. I think that what better opportunity have we got to give, Bruno and Pogba and everybody a couple of weeks off, bring them back for that quarter-final, and they get 3 games under their belt before a new season. It's a mini pre-season. Jerome T. Green says, I know it sucks, but I can't see the Glazers paying it. Go all out for him unless they want anything more than 100 million up front. He's a must, says Oliver Bram. And I agree with that from Oliver. I wouldn't go above 100 million for Sancho. 35 million plus Sanchez for Skriniar, says Vinit. And I want the lot. We are Man United and we will never stop, says Alec Williams. And Nick Tankersley, welcome, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. And Nick P says, at no point do we walk away from Sancho. He's absolutely vital to add the balance and quality we need in our side. And if you want Sancho, you pay the money, says Sean from Ireland. A very, very good message there. So our first two stories, if you've joined in a little bit late, there's a lot to get through tonight, a lot to discuss. Sport Media Set from Italy are saying that Manchester United have rejected a bid for Alexis Sanchez, which was another loan for a year with an obligation to pay 15 million to buy him permanently next summer. Now, I'd take that deal if it's the only deal on the table. But I think United are trying to negotiate a better deal because if he goes on loan for another year, United have got to pay his half his wages, which is 8 million quid anyway. So effectively, they're getting Alexis Sanchez for 7 million, aren't they, next year? Because you take 8 million off in his wages. So that's not a good deal for United. So they're right to argue that one out. And the second story is Alexis Sanchez. There's a growing confidence around Dortmund, Sancho, and Manchester United that this deal will get done. But there is also a belief that Manchester United are going to have to pay a lot of money to get it done. Dortmund don't want to lower their price, and they don't think that Sancho will force a move anyway. And even if he does, they still want a high price. And this goes back to what I said last night. Whatever fantasy people have about Borussia Dortmund, you enjoy that fantasy. My perception of Borussia Dortmund, and they won't give two shits about this, but my perception of Borussia Dortmund is that they buy young, cheap players and they sell them at extortionate prices. At what point is that about the development of a footballer, and at what point does it become actually they're a mercenary club that buy young players, train them for a couple of years and then sell them at ridiculously high prices? How does that help the young player? Mark, you said you don't rate the German league. Isn't it a big risk to spend 100 million from a player in that league? Well, no, Zane, I don't think so, because he's been playing in the Champions League exceptionally well. Would you refuse Lewandowski? Would you refuse Muller or Schweinsteiger in their prime when they were playing at Bayern Munich? Aubameyang came from Dortmund. Mark, any news on the meeting to discuss giving extra dress time to teams in Champions League and Europa League, if this is even true? Well, it won't be decided, Scrinthaf, until we've got that far. Welcome to Mads Gerhard Pedersen, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Praveen Thomas says, we need to be careful not to repeat Griezmann kind of situation with Sancho. We should have a proper backup plan. Who else are our options? There's plenty of options out there. Jerome says, I think Dortmund are disgraceful for this. Sancho wants to go. Why not just let him go for 80 million? It's still a lot of money, especially when they bought him for 10 million 3 years ago. It's not like they're going to make a load of money. Alec Williams, what about 60 million plus a young player on loan, maybe to Ansebi? And Great Craven Moore says, if the Sancho deal goes through, Mark, how do you think the transfer will be structured? Add-ons, sell-ons, etc. I don't think there'll be sell-ons in it, but I do think that it will be structured. Suave Deep says, I think we can exchange Lingard plus 10 million with Van der Beek. It will be good for Lingard going to Ajax. Not a chance. Not a chance he'll go there. Santiago Barrientos says, winning Europa League means more cash in the club's pocket and it helps them get a taste for trophies. Exactly. No, don't ignore the money. And we must pay what they want or move on quick, or else we drag our heels and get no one. Add Donny, Grimaldo and Canate and it's a dream summer, says PQ Deads. And Sean Turner, what happened to the pandemic ruining the market and prices? It seems as if it's made players more expensive. What's going on? Clubs are getting greedy, I think. That's what's happening, Sean. Hey, Mark, my mum is watching you at work. She's working hard and I want to surprise her with a shout out, says Amarie Cadu. There you go. Shout out. Alexa says, play John Bon Jovi. That might work. Why participate ignorant trying to win? There are a limit to how much to pay for Sancho. The youth will think twice if it stands in his way of the dream, says Harold Holst-Versvold. I agree. I do agree with that. And I think United will sign Sancho. I don't for 1 minute diminish the difficulty of doing a deal with Borussia Dortmund. I mean, look, it was Christian Falk who was on the show last week. What did he say about Ousmane Dembele? Ousmane Dembele forced a move from Dortmund, but they still had to pay £135 million for him. Dortmund get held up as this great moral football club. I don't know why. I don't think there's anything moral about them. I don't think they're any more moral than any other football club. They're trying to get top dollar for their players. Nothing wrong with that. But I think people have this fantasy that it's, oh, Dortmund, what a great club. Go there and they'll nurture you and then they'll let you go somewhere else. Yeah, at extortionate prices. Luke Townsend, welcome, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. So that's where we are with Sancho. Talks progressing. When do I think this will be done? I still think the 10th of August is a key date in relation to that. If we get Sancho, why aren't we discussing Ndidi? He's perhaps the best fit for slow defence like us, says Tintin. Yeah. Heard of a couple of CB rumours regarding Man United. Do you know anything about Gabriel from Lille and Diego Carlos from Sevilla? How do you rate them? Don't know much about them at all, Daniel. Daniel, I'll be very honest with you. Daniel Luciano. Welcome to Karen Yu, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. And Kevin Dallatorre says, why do people act like Arsenal are good all of a sudden? But the moment United gain traction, we get bashed. What place did they end up again? Mate, let haters hate. This is the whole point of Manchester United being good. You know, Jose Mourinho today or yesterday has been talking about Manchester United. He said Bruno Fernandes is a good player, but he's very good at penalties and he's had a lot of penalties to take. I mean, this is a manager of Tottenham Football Club and he is crying in his bed, lemon tears, about Manchester United because they sacked him. Shut up in your face, Jose Mourinho. What is your problem? We finished in the top 4. We finished 3rd. You didn't. If you want to get penalties, start trying to play around the penalty box. How can you criticise a team that gets lots of penalties? The key bit of information here, the big hint is penalty box. We're actually getting challenges in the penalty box a lot. There's a lot of penalties we weren't given this season as well. You watch Martial against Bournemouth. We lost the game at Bournemouth. You watch the foul on Martial. That's a bloody penalty. Wasn't given. So don't start me on United penalties. I think out of all the penalties we've had, the only contentious one was the Villa one with Bruno, and I still think it's a penalty. I do. So, but Mourinho is crying into his bloody cornflakes about United getting penalties because we're in 3rd. Like, that's the reason we're in 3rd. Mate, you don't even know what the penalty box is. You need a sat-nav. So, well, you know where your penalty box is. You park your bus around it, but you don't know where the other one is. Why are we not getting rumours of Pogba's new contract? Has he gone cold on a new deal? Says Athin. Information about that coming through. Do you think, Zayn Miasi says, Mark, there are no morals in football. United wanted 80 million for Lukaku when he wasn't worth more than 30. That's from Zayn. Yeah, but we did pay 70 for him. We're trying to get our money back. Did you see Craig Burley's reaction on ESPN? Why is he so biased against Manchester United? Well, the Craig Burley reaction I saw is that he was basically saying that Man United got no more points than they did last year. They're no better than they were last year. But that's not how it works. If you are Mo Farah, and I don't even know if he runs anymore. If you don't, Mo, enjoy your retirement. If you do, I don't watch athletics anymore. But Mo Farah runs 10,000 metres? And he runs one race and he might do it in a certain time and he might win the race, but he might run another race and run it in the same time and not win the race. You run the race you run. You don't run the points total, because if you run the points total, that's idiotic. You run the race you run, and in different races, different points total, different times will win the race. Manchester United ran this season race and came 3rd, and they deserved to come 3rd, and Chelsea deserved 4th, and Leicester deserved not to be in the top 4. Last season, they wouldn't have been in the top 4. We knew a long time ago that this was going to be the lowest ever points total for 4th and 3rd. And I think that's come to fruition. Why is that? Because the Premier League is shit this year. It is. Even as a United fan that we came 3rd, this Premier League season is shit. Liverpool are brilliant, and they probably would have won the league in most other years, so I'm not criticising Liverpool. Man City have been really hit and miss, yet they're 15 points ahead of us. And then from 3rd down, it's been shit. How we got in a top 4 race was because we bought Bruno. But did we have a right to still be in one, the start to the season we had up until January? No, we didn't. Should Chelsea be getting top 4 with 12 losses? Not really. But you run the race that you run. And actually, it's worked in our favour, because I think that the United team of when Bruno came in from the end of January to now would be top of the league based on the points that we've accumulated. So, we are where we deserve to be, and every season's a journey. So I think it's idiotic when people judge points totals on previous years. I mean, look, let's be honest. We only got 2 more points than our worst ever Premier League total. You could cry about that. You could go, oh my God, sack Ollie. But you run the race you're in, don't you? Mourinho is such a bitter, out-of-date manager, says Sean Turner. Go celebrate Europa League qualification a bit more, you sad act. It's because he's got nothing to do in August. He's bitter. Don Hutchinson said Martial will be the one to drop out if we sign Sancho. Your opinion about that, says Mo Ali. I'm coming back to that. This season we were 2nd under Mourinho. We would have won the league in other years. It goes both ways, says Patrick St. Pierre. And Marcus Wine says, hi Mark, love the show. How many players do you think we need to sign for a successful summer? And Nick P says, I love our association with penalties. It takes me back to Fergie time when everyone hated us for injury time goals. Bring back those days again. And Jack says, did you hear Don Hutchinson saying if Sancho came in that he'd remove Martial from the starting lineup and put Greenwood up top? I think we need to talk about that then. That's the second one. And I'd be over the moon with Sancho, Rice and Grealish or Maddison and Axel playing more next season, says Scott Bennett. And JD says, hi Mark, do you think it's social irresponsibility that United go and spend 100 million on one player given the economic downturn? I do, JD. I do. But I also think, well, what are Manchester United supposed to do? They want this player. I think Dortmund had taken the piss, to be honest. I mean, Manchester United have got the money to spend it. It's a little bit immoral to spend it. Of course it is. But Dortmund are immoral to get it so high. They're taking the piss. So why should we walk away? My feeling about Jadon Sancho is we don't walk away from that deal no matter how much it costs. And if Dortmund want to charge 100 million, well done Dortmund for being greedy shits. Well done. But ultimately, Manchester United can't walk away from that deal. Marcus Wynn said, I love the show. How many players do you think we need to start for a successful summer? I think 3 players for me. We need Jadon Sancho, we need a midfielder, and we need a centre-back. That's what I think we need. We do need more, but they would be my priorities. That's what I'd be looking at as priority positions. Phil Flanagan says, Glazers spent €50 million on Tom Brady for that American football team. Can't see them spending 90 million on Sancho. I think they will, Phil. I think they will. I think you're going to be surprised. As for Don Hutchinson basically saying that Martial will be the player to drop out of the United lineup, then... look, you've got to be very careful about slating Don Hutchinson, who's an ex-Liverpool player, for that, when ultimately, is this not what Gary Neville said at the weekend before the Leicester game? I don't know whether you heard it, but he said, I can see in the future that Greenwood will become the number 9, which, look, indirectly is the same thing as what Don Hutchinson said. We've got ex-players and fans of Manchester United who don't rate Martial, so why would I care about an ex-Liverpool player? It's a frustration for people who understand it, but look, just because you played ball doesn't mean you know ball. There's plenty of footballers out. I mean, Paul Gascoigne to me is one of the best talents England's ever produced. Would you trust him to talk about football even before all his problems? I don't. Gazza had genius in his feet. I don't think he had football genius in his head in that sense. I mean, yeah, on the pitch, the way he played, but I don't think that. I think people hold on to too. I mean, look, one of the reasons we started the United Stand is because I was bored of Match of the Day and Sky Sports, pundits, ex-players. I think they're a little bit scripted. I think they play it safe. I think they do mates rates. I think they look out for their mates. They have their own isms around what they like, and it might be youth players, it might be foreign players, whatever. I put far more weight on your opinion than I do on ex-players who are being paid a lot of money to say basically safe things. So look, people who don't understand Martial, in my opinion, and it's only my opinion, and you must always respect other people's opinions, even if you disagree with it. So regarding Don Hutchinson and other ex-United players who've slated Martial in the past, or maybe still don't rate him, for me, he's our Player of the Year, hands down, Player of the Year. When you look across the season, Martial has been the most consistent performer who's been there, in a new position. He's scored goals, he's assisted goals, he's run the line, he's linked players up, he's worked hard. I think he's been a fantastic number 9 this season, and he's up there with the Jamie Vardys and the Aubameyangs. I think he's had a fantastic season in a difficult circumstance at times. And to be slated for that, I think it reflects badly on people who don't rate Martial, because I personally feel, and again it's my opinion, I don't think you understand football. And that's just my opinion. I don't think you understand football, because I watch Martial, and of course I like Martial. I've liked him from the day that we bought him, but the role that he's doing and what he brings to that team, I see it every single game. I see how he brings others into the game. I see his, he almost has a synergy, a telepathic sort of relationship with Rashford, and that's developing with Pogba and Bruno, and that's what you want from your number 9. I think he's a fantastic player. My best 4 transfer summer: Sancho, Van der Beek, Torres, and Benoit Badiashile, says Deuce Beast. I think that Torres player looks interesting, and I was talking about him this morning, wasn't I? Jose always liked Sanchez, so we could see him at Spurs in the future, says Joel Morris. Spurs will never be able to afford him, Joel. They just won't. They just won't be able to afford him, will they? Being an ex-player doesn't mean you automatically know ball through and through. Some fans do nothing but watch and study football, says Glenn Stefan. Yeah, I mean, look, there's an arrogance around football. There always has been. Do you think the United Stand hasn't had to deal with that arrogance? And when I say the United Stand, I mean all of you. If you watch the United Stand, if your comments are on the United Stand, if you're a fan camera on the United Stand, the perception of the United Stand by the wider media sometimes and ex-players is quite snobby. What do they know? They're not from Manchester. Well, what do they know? They've never played the game. I think I've been playing football for 35 years. I've been watching football for probably 37 years. Do you think I just watch there like a goldfish, just going blurp, blurp, blurp? Or do you think you actually watch the ball move around? You watch how the players move. You get to know what's a good player and what's not a bad player. What's a bad player? If maybe not everybody watches football like that, but I think 95% of us don't watch 90 minutes 4 or 5 times a week and just fall asleep. You're watching things. You're shouting at the television. You're saying play the pass. I've always watched football like that. I'm watching football. Well, on the watch line, I'll be going, switch it. You tactically assess a football match. Your opinion is no worse than anybody else's. It's exactly the same thing as being, if you're a Manchester United fan from Manchester or you're a Manchester United fan from Sydney. They're no better than you because they're born in Manchester. You support the same club. Football's not that... I've always said football's not that deep and it's not that hard to understand. And some people have made great careers as managers of football teams with very, very basic tactics. I'm talking about the Sam Allardyces, the Neil Warnocks, the Sean Dyche. These the way they play football is not dramatically, you've got to spend hours on the training ground drilling them and everything like that. Football can be very, very simple. Mark, I'm getting really annoyed that Martial is getting no praise. All pundits say they would drop him and I don't understand after the season he's had, says Jay Patterson. Mate, look, it's only my opinion on it, but I personally do feel that if Anthony Martial had come through the youth setup at Manchester United, he would be adored by the media, the ex-players, and the whole of the club and the whole of the country. So there you go. Ivan says, "Are you still shouting Ollie out now?" Ivan, I mean, realistically, I wish my eyes hadn't been drawn to your ridiculous comments. If you go to a restaurant and they serve you order spaghetti bolognese and on top of your pasta is a big piling turd, do you just go, that's lovely, or do you complain about it? But then when you go back 6 months later and it's the best spaghetti bolognese you've ever had, do you still call it a pile of turd? No, they've improved. They've taken on board the criticism and they've improved. This is the real world. Welcome to it. Stop being childish. Grow up and realise that for most Manchester United fans, Manchester United Football Club comes first. And when it's not doing the things that it should be doing, then criticism needs to be done and the club needs to react. I applaud the club for what they did in January in buying Bruno Fernandes. I applaud Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the team, the players and the coaching staff for what they've done since January to get this club back to where it is. The criticism, the moaning, the booing and everything that happened in January around the stadium was absolutely spot on because it forced the club to do something it needed to do. It did it and it deserves the praise. That is the circle of most things in life. You do something wrong, something's going badly, you assess it, you try and fix it, and it goes well again. I tell you what, at some points in the future, hopefully a few years in the future, we'll be back in that position where the fans aren't happy in the ground again, where the performances aren't good enough, where the manager's being questioned, where the board's being questioned, where the players are being questioned. And if they react to it, we'll improve. It's just what happens. Ruben Neves is who we need, says Oliver Knight. Would complement Bruno and Pogba, can score goals and will fill the CDM hole. We should pay Wolves whatever it takes. Oliver, you're not the only one to talk about Ruben Neves. A lot of people talking about Ruben Neves, but I don't hear anything that we're in for him at all. I'd love to say that we were. I don't see it happening. I think it's a fan signing, isn't it? It's what you would do as fans, and that doesn't actually cross over that much. Hopefully it will with Sancho. Mark, what are your thoughts on Jan Arge Fortov's latest tweet on Sancho? I don't know what it is, mate. I'll have a look on my phone. I can have a look at that. X1W says there is a Russian centre-back that plays for Spartak Moscow called Georgy Dizagigi. He's 26, very fast, very strong, composed on the ball. I'd be stunned if we bought him. I think Rashford is backup as your striker and you need a world-class striker to play alongside Martial. That doesn't mean you should go for Aubameyang, says Zane. Well, Rashford's not a striker, really. He's a left winger now. 25 million for James Rodriguez, 30 million for Thiago, or 70 million for Jack Grealish if you had to pick one. I wouldn't spend 70 million on Grealish, Jack the lad. Wonder if that is Jack Grealish. I would rather sell Dean Henderson and Deadwood to gather around 70 to 90 million on top of transfer budget and spend budget for Jadon Sancho and Grealish and a good centre-back, says Jakashore Sakar. I mean, can I just ask you lot a question, actually? If we sign Jadon Sancho and we play the front three, which we will, who are you dropping, or are you putting Sancho on the bench? Are you dropping Greenwood off the right? Are you dropping Martial off the middle to maybe move Greenwood over? Or are you dropping Rashford off the left? What are you doing? What are you doing in relation to that? Who would you drop? I know what I would do. All right. So Jan Argafiortatov says, my gut feeling is that Sancho will leave Dortmund. And from a very reliable source at Dortmund, there's been no bid for Jadon Sancho, not from Manchester United, not from any other club. Reports of rejected bid is wrong. The price is 120 million euro, period. Deadline is 10th of August, period. I don't think that doesn't add anything. We won't. Manchester United will not pay 120 million euro. So they can do whatever they like. That is not going to happen. So that won't happen. And they shouldn't pay any more than £100 million because Dortmund are taking the absolute piss. And they can think that Jadon Sancho is going to stay. But if I was Jadon Sancho and Dortmund said, we're not selling you for anything less than 100 million, I'd go on strike. And that's just me. And that might be controversial. I would go on strike. I would be like, you ungrateful pile of you know what. I would be, you what? 3 years I've been here. You bought me for 10 million. We've had a global crisis where people have died, lost jobs, financial crisis, everything. And you want 100 million for me? You can get stuffed. I ain't playing for this club anymore. You are using me. You are using me as a pile of gold. I'm a human being. I've come to this football club for cheap. You've given me the opportunity and I've given you way more back. You sell me for a fair price, or I tell you what, I ain't kicking a ball for you. Take me to court. I'd do that. You know me. I'm quite a tempestuous, stubborn person. That's what I would do. And my agent would be going, shut up, don't do it. You can shut up as well. You're sacked. You've done a crap job. But I would. I'd be like, you are having a bloody laugh. I'd be furious because let's not forget there is a global situation here. This COVID-19 thing, it's not a joke. People have lost jobs. Football clubs will shut down. People have lost their lives. You cannot in this market. Because the thing is, it works both ways here. If Dortmund sell Sancho for 90 million, they will get a replacement for a reasonable price. So, yeah, that's how I feel about that, without a shadow of a doubt. Who would I drop from Rashford, Martial or Greenwood for Sancho? At the start of the season, if I'm absolutely honest, probably I would put Greenwood on the bench and bring Sancho in because I still think Greenwood needs to be used sparingly. But then, longer term, Sancho can play off the left. Greenwood can play off the right. Greenwood can play off the left. Rashford, there's a lot of interchangeability. But I think I'd start the season with Rashford on the left, Martial up front and Sancho on the right. But what great problems to have. Please smash a like on the video if you're watching. We've got loads of people watching. And subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right-hand corner. Brad Payne says, Zane, how is the acting career going, pal? Any job offers yet? And thank you for the super chat from Vishnu. And at the start, Greenwood, and then see what happens, says David B. Yeah, which is, I would agree with that. I think that's fair enough. I think that is fair enough. Mark, you should move your screen to the side as your United stand laptop on the desk. Mark, you should move your screen to the side as your United laptop on the desk. Okay, I see what you mean, yeah. Sorry. Rashford, obviously. Martial, Sancho, Greenwood are miles better. I don't think Rashford is much better than Welbeck, says Zamiasi. You're an Arsenal fan. And Dan says, take Greenwood off and let him rotate during the season. Love the content. Keep up the great work. Thanks for the super chat, Dan. Really appreciate that. And does Sancho excite you similarly to Bruno and Pogba, says Darsh? What a question. So we're getting some good questions tonight. I've still got loads to talk about. We've been pulled into some really good conversations. So thank you, everybody. I mean, look, again, I think that's such a good question. I would have to put it to the live comments. Does Sancho excite you as much as Bruno did? Or Pogba? I mean, I remember signing Pogba, yeah. I mean, I was very excited about Pogba. I think I was more amazed about Paul Pogba. I was amazed that we got him back to the club. I didn't really believe we could do that. And I was amazed by it. And I was excited about it. They sucked the excitement out of the deal, to be fair, because it took bloody weeks and we knew it was going to happen. But Bruno Fernandes is the most exciting signing we've made for me. There's two signings that really excited me in the last, there's three actually. There's three in the last 8 years. Robin van Persie, that, sorry Zane, but that Van Persie signing, I knew what he was. And I didn't predict that we would win the title, but I felt he was a player that could make us win the title, and he did. Schweinsteiger excited me because he was one of my favourite players in European football. It's just a shame we got him too late. And then Bruno excited me, as everybody knows, because it was a player I wanted for bloody ages, and I thought we'd messed it up. So Bruno excited me more than any other player that we've signed. Sancho excites me, but not the same as Bruno. as I've said, I think with Bruno, I expected him to come into the club and hit the ground running. With Sancho, I'm a little bit more patient. I'm a little bit more like, what a great... I feel like Sancho's going to be a great player for the next 5 years, but we don't need him to be coming and be great straight away. I think we can be patient. He's a young lad. He's going to take a little bit of time to adjust. But the great thing about Sancho is he's not coming in as the great saviour, is he? He's coming into a team that's building. So when Sancho makes his debut for United, if he makes his debut for United, he's going to have Pogba and Bruno on the pitch. He's going to have Martial and Rashford on the pitch. He's going to have Matic on the pitch. He's going to have Wan-Bissaka behind him. He's going to have a lot of good players around him. So, yeah, I'm very excited about Sancho, but it's a little bit different to Bruno. I think Sancho's coming into a more stable team, whereas I think that Bruno came in as a saviour, really. The Sancho deal is like what happened with Maguire and Bruno. Both clubs wanted too much money, but we ended up paying below the asking price. This is extra heat. Well, we'll see what happens, won't we? Welcome to the Members Club, Vinit Vudran. Thanks to everyone who is joining the Members Club. Remember, we don't do Patreon or anything like that. Nothing against it, but we like to have all our content free on YouTube. So if you want to support the channel, you can just click and join and become a member. Get your little badge next to your name. Really appreciate that. Like Shuraj, he says, go back to Barca channel. Bruno is not for sale. £500 million. Barca can do one. I don't know where somebody from Barcelona's come from. But you know what? That's always the challenge, Shuraj. That's always the challenge. If Man United don't start challenging for titles in Champions Leagues in 2 years, then Real Madrid, Barcelona will come after Martial. They'll come after Bruno. They will. They'll come after Wan-Bissaka. They will come after Pogba again. These players that we value at our club, the days of keeping players at clubs for 10 years are gone, really. The only way you keep players at your club is by being successful. And fair play to Liverpool on this, because Mane, Salah would not be at Liverpool. Van Dijk would not be at Liverpool if they were doing what we'd done over the last 3 years. If they were just loved by the club and the fans, but they were finishing 4th and 5th and in the Europa League, Van Dijk would go to Real Madrid. So would Mane, so would Salah. But they're not going anywhere at the moment because they've won a Champions League last year and they've won a Premier League this year. So the club is satisfying their needs, and Manchester United need to do that. We can't just keep Bruno because we love him if we're going to be 4th or whatever. We've got to give him the platform to do what he needs to do. And if we do that, I think Bruno will stay. I would hold on to Henderson another year or two and let his value go up. The money we get selling would help us get the last bits to go for the title, says Viva FC. Welcome to Brennan Richter, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. And Steak Negs Hernandez says, Mark, why not try for your pro coaching badges? I think you'd make a fantastic coach or agent. Mate, you know, I do coaching. And I've done my badges. I've done the first tier of badges, but I'm not. What I would say about this is, whether you're a coach or you're an agent, you've got to live, drink, eat, and breathe it. You know, I can watch football like anybody can. I can analyse football. I can give my opinion on football, and it's an opinion that's as good as anybody else's. But coaching, that's not just opinion. That's not understanding football. That's a vocation. That's a, you know, I respect everybody who does that, and I haven't got the time to do that, so I won't be doing that. But I respect people who do. I'm not excited about Sancho at all. The price is a joke, says Sean Turner. I think we're getting our pants pulled down. We could do better deals with that 90 million. You see, there are some people out there who don't think Sancho's a good deal. There are a couple of underrated players all around Europe. United could go to fix their problems. Seems like United are behind in the scouting networks, says Jerome T. Green. United have got a great scouting network. In fact, there was a scout today talking about how United refused Alphonso Davies and another player. I can't remember who it was. And United will have refused a lot of players that have gone on to be good, like any club does. Arsenal refused Ronaldo before we got him. So I think United's scouting network's fine. I just think United need to trust their European scouting network better. We're going too Brexit, aren't we? We're going too British. Do more of the Bruno type of deals. Milo Reshika says from Bremen is a solid player, 20-30 million pound as a bench. As far as centre-back, what about Kamara from Marseille or Romagnelli from Milan? He is a player that's been mentioned before, Anish. Zane says, Mark, if Real will come in 2 years for your best players if Oli doesn't win the league. Oh, basically just what I said, isn't it? That's basically what I just said. I don't think you're wrong. I think players will look to move on if United can't offer them what they want. Sancho is a £75 million player, says Mehdi. Well, market dictates. It was Pulisic. Thank you. A lot of people are saying it was Pulisic that United turned down. And I've got to be honest, if you've watched the channel for any period of time, you'll know my opinion on this. Sancho 10. I don't understand why we didn't go for Pulisic. Look, time after time I've said Chelsea are very good at transfers. They're very good at selling. They get very good value for players, and they're very good at getting deals done quickly. And they've done it again. Forget who the manager is at Chelsea. Their actual director of football or whatever network they've got is fantastic, and it has been for 15 years. And it's one thing that Roman Abramovich did very early at Chelsea when he bought them. He installed this football director, sporting director network, and it works brilliantly well. The manager is secondary in many ways. They're obviously very important, but they're not really... Transfers happen when Chelsea haven't even got a manager. So they're brilliant at it. And Pulisic was a great signing. But he was a player we were talking about on this channel for a long time. Dortmund again. And we were saying... what a player Pulisic would be, because he's American as well. So the American market, we're owned by bloody Americans. I don't know why we didn't go for Pulisic. I think he fitted Manchester United like a bloody glove. We've needed a winger for 4 years. I don't know why we didn't go for Pulisic, but obviously there was a scout there saying go and get Pulisic, and we ignored it. And I think we have ignored European scouts for a long time in this football club. You look at all our signings over the last few years. Especially the last year, Dan James, Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire. Look, Bruno's the one, isn't it? There needs to be more of that, in my opinion. SR says, are there no shit references to signings this year? Can you please call my mates Lala and Andy Prats? Lala and Andy are a couple of Prats. SR says that. I'm not on holiday today, so this year, so there's no ships to sink, unfortunately. Wayne Rooney says the best way to go about is signing Kane. The guy scored 15 plus goals even in his worst season. He can do what Percy did for us back in the day. No. Why buy Harry Kane when you've got Anthony Martial? Mark, why don't you have people from across the world on fan cams now, says Gahan. Because we're not doing fans. We're not doing... it's a good question, actually. I'm not defensive about it. Well, we're not outside the grounds at the moment. So when we're back outside the ground, people can come on the fan cams as usual. But with the games being played behind closed doors, it's very difficult to get somebody you've never had on the channel before, which is why we've just been using Ricky and Saeed and Adam and Sophie and Xander and Nuruddin, because we know that they're fan cammers that have done it before, and you know what you're getting. It's very, very busy running something like the United Stand, and I could put an email out tonight and say, send us a video in, and there's 16,000 people watching now. You could get 1,000 videos. And you're all probably brilliant at it, but when are we going to get the time to watch it and then set everything up? It's a nice to have. It's not something we can have at the moment. But look, as soon as we're back at the ground again, the camera's there. Get on it. Been a Red since I was 6. Well, I like to have a good conversation with you if you're okay with that, Mark. I have DM'd you on the Instagram, says Anish. I'm rubbish on Instagram. If you've DM'd me on Instagram, if you slide into my DMs on Instagram, you're basically sliding into the abyss, because I don't even really know how to use Instagram. I just post a photo and put a thing and I leave it. Sky, Arsenal have registered an interest in Jack Grealish, but Aston Villa have made it clear that they would not be tempted to sell for anything under 80 million, says Andrew Chow. Chelsea are good at transfers because of Peter Kenyon, who betrayed you. But Peter Kenyon's not been there for years, Zane. Get with the times. Then again, you can't. You're living in the past. You're an Arsenal fan. Right, we haven't even got through half of what we were meant to talk about, but I did want to just bring in this that actually we have spoken about half. We have Man City. Ferran Torres is a player that Dortmund. Well, we were linked to Ferran Torres. He's a right winger for Valencia. Dortmund were looking at him. Man City are going to buy him, and it's a very, very quick deal. And it just got me thinking that it's mad, isn't it? How teams like Chelsea and Liverpool and Man City can just go and do a deal like that, and yet Manchester United can't. I don't know why it is. We're still very, very slow at doing transfers, and other clubs can just go bang, Ferran Torres. Now, in the case of Man City, I suppose you could say City could have been after him for months. No one gives a shit. They've got no fans. Nobody really interested. No one's interested in Man City. They just buy a player and they go, oh yeah, oil money, whatever. Whereas Man United try and sign a player and everyone's interested. I suppose that's true to a certain extent, but for me it's more than that again. It just goes back to the fact that Man City, even before Pep came in, there was somebody who worked with Pep previously who was involved in transfers before Pep even got there. They've got the sporting director network at Man City again. And I think it just feeds into what we were just saying about Chelsea and what Zane was saying about Chelsea as well. Chelsea have been very good at transfers for a very, very long time. Man City have been very good at transfers for 10 years. Why are they good at transfers? They've changed managers quite regularly, those clubs. So it's not because of a manager. You know, it dispels the myth, really. If you look at Chelsea and how good they've been at transfers over the last 15 years, and you look at Man City and how good they've been at transfers for the last 10 years, no manager has been at that club for 15 or 10 years. They've all had, 2 or 3 managers at least in that time. Chelsea, a lot more. Yet they've remained good at transfers. It goes beyond Van Gaal, Mourinho, Moyes, Solskjaer. This goes up to the board level again. Manchester United are not equipped as a good football club in relation to transfers yet, and they have to build that. They should be looking at what Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea do around transfers and implementing that at Manchester United. And I wonder why they don't. And until it happens, I just feel there are people in that football club who love to be in control. As I said before, it's like you wake up in the morning and you're playing the world's best game of Football Manager because you're doing it as Manchester United. And look, whether that's Ed Woodward or Matt Judge or whoever it is, these are not football people. Manchester United need proper sporting director, football director in place because we are slow at transfers. And you need somebody to come in and do that job. And we're not very good at it. We're not very... Well, I'm not going to say we're not very good at it because I think we've improved a lot over the last 18 months. But we're still not very quick at it. And I think we can be better. And Manchester United should always be striving to be better. We could have our best ever transfer window, though, I must say. If we get Sancho, a midfielder and a centre-back, I think that's a fantastic transfer window in a very short period of time, having finished third. I think United are going to have a good transfer window. Whether it's just Sancho or not, I don't know. I think we'll have a good transfer window. But I still think that we can be better. And I think that we need to be better. Because there's still a long way to go for Manchester United. I think we're having a good little run at the moment, but we still need to be a lot better than what we are. And that's, I think at the moment, the Europa League is fantastic. It's a distraction and it's a great trophy to win. You can only win what you're in. We're not in the Champions League this year, so win the Europa League. But most of these next 5 weeks is about what happens off the pitch. Who we move on, who we bring in. And it's going to be very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. So, a little bit of a summary. Alexis Sanchez, Manchester United have apparently rejected a bid of £15 million. But that would involve Sanchez going on loan for another year and then having to go for £15 million. Of course, if he goes on loan for a year, that's going to cost Man United £8 million in his wages that we have to pay. So, I understand why United have rejected it. But hopefully, you know what? What did I say a few months ago? We'll never get rid of Alexis Sanchez. It's impossible. He's crap. No one's going to want him. If we get rid of Alexis Sanchez this summer, I'm very, very happy. I think that's a fantastic bit. To get rid of that player, he's a waste of space. To get rid of him from our football club and never have to worry about his wages again would be fantastic business for United. So I'm watching that and thinking, you know what? That's huge. I know it's not as glamorous when you sell a player, but we've got a lot of deadwood and he's the king of the deadwood. So it would be great to get rid of him. On Sancho, Sky are basically saying that all sides are confident that there's an agreement that can be met. Of course, there's peripheral stuff about we're not moving on the fee, we're not going up to that. But I think it's progressing, the talks are progressing, and we'll see what happens with that. Thanks everyone for watching. Please smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new. I'm back again tomorrow at 10 o'clock with the latest Manchester United news in the morning. And then 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Got a good video for you tomorrow afternoon as well. Keep watching, keep getting involved. Thanks for all your questions tonight. You've actually exhausted me tonight. It's been relentless. Relentless good questions. So thank you everyone. Thanks for everyone who's become a member by clicking the join button. And of course, if you want to get your t-shirts, you can now just get them through YouTube. They'll be below the video. We've got the new Greenwood one, Rashford, Martial, Bruno, loads. Check them out below the video. They do ship worldwide. And I'll speak to you all soon. Thank you for watching.